A Khan is born, probably not in a barn though. Hello, history lovers. Today we're diving into the life of one of history's most formidable figures. Today's subject, the legendary Genghis Khan. You might think of him as a fierce warrior and a ruthless conqueror, but there's so much more to his story. Okay, maybe hilarious isn't the first word that springs to mind. But trust me, his life was filled with unexpected twists and turns. This guy's life story is wilder than a yak on roller skates. Imagine growing up in the vast, harsh landscapes of Mongolia, where survival was a daily challenge. Born Temujin around 1162, little Genghis didn't exactly have a silver spoon in his mouth. His early years were marked by hardship and struggle, more like a wooden spoon in a yurt on the Mongolian steppe. Tough times. His family lived a nomadic life, moving from place to place, always on the lookout for food and shelter. But young Temujin was a tough cookie. From a young age, he showed remarkable resilience and determination, qualities that would later define his leadership. His dad, a tribal leader, got poisoned, always awkward. This tragic event left the family vulnerable and without protection. Family kicked out, forced to live on scraps. They had to fend for themselves in the unforgiving wilderness, relying on their wits and each other to survive. Not exactly a recipe for world domination, right? Wrong. These early challenges only fueled Temujin's ambition and drive. This rough start just made Genghis tougher, smarter, and grumpier. He learned to navigate the complexities of tribal politics and warfare, skills that would serve him well in the future. And boy, did he have plans to show everyone who was boss. From uniting the Mongol tribes to creating one of the largest empires in history, Genghis Khan's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Stay tuned as we unravel the incredible life of this iconic figure. Genghis Khan's rise to power is a classic underdog story. Imagine a Mongolian Rocky, but with less punching and more strategic alliances, and horses, lots of horses. Remember those tribes that gave his family a hard time? Time for payback. Genghis united the Mongols tribe by tribe like some kind of horse-riding, arrow-shooting diplomat extraordinaire. He had a way of making people an offer they couldn't refuse. Join me or, well, let's just say his negotiation skills were persuasive. By 1206, he was top dog, or should I say top Khan, of all Mongolia, and he was just getting started. With Mongolia united, Genghis set his sights on bigger things. World domination, anyone? His military campaigns were legendary. He conquered more land than a Mongolian realtor on a roll. From China to Eastern Europe, nobody could stop the Khan and his horde. His secret weapon? Besides the whole being utterly ruthless thing, it was his army. Genghis Khan's soldiers were tough, disciplined, and loyal. Plus, they could ride horses like centaurs on caffeine. Sure, there were a few hiccups along the way, sieges, rebellions, the occasional lost battle. But ultimately, Genghis Khan always landed on top, like a fur-clad cat with 9 lives. Genghis Khan wasn't just a brilliant conqueror, he was also a surprisingly savvy ruler. His ability to unite the Mongol tribes and lead them to victory across vast territories is legendary. But what many people don't realize is that his leadership skills went far beyond the battlefield. Think of him as a warrior king with a surprisingly modern management style. He understood the importance of strategy, not just in war, but in governance. His approach to leadership was both innovative and effective, setting a standard that many modern leaders could learn from. He promoted based on merit, not family ties. This was revolutionary at the time, as most leaders favored their own kin or close allies. By recognizing and rewarding talent, Genghis Khan ensured that the best and brightest were in positions of power, which strengthened his empire. He valued loyalty and discipline. These were the cornerstones of his military and administrative success. His soldiers were fiercely loyal because they knew that their leader valued their contributions and would reward them accordingly. And he absolutely hated betrayal, which, let's face it, is fair enough. Betrayal was met with swift and severe punishment, ensuring that loyalty was maintained throughout his ranks. This created a culture of trust and reliability, which was crucial for the stability of his empire. He also had a soft spot for trade, technology, and even religious tolerance, as long as you didn't mess with his empire, of course. Genghis Khan understood that a prosperous empire needed a strong economy and that trade was the lifeblood of economic success. He encouraged the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies which helped to enrich his empire. Who says world domination can't be inclusive? Genghis Khan's policies were surprisingly progressive for his time. He welcomed people of different cultures and religions into his empire, as long as they were loyal to him. This inclusivity helped to create a diverse and vibrant society. Genghis Khan's laws and policies helped to create a surprisingly stable and prosperous empire. His legal code was designed to be fair and just, ensuring that all his subjects were treated equally. This helped to maintain order and stability, which were essential for the prosperity of his empire. He wasn't just conquering for kicks, he was building something that would last. His vision was to create an empire that would endure long after he was gone, and in many ways he succeeded. Genghis Khan, the name that still echoes through the corridors of history, was not just a conqueror but a visionary. His empire stretched from the steppes of Mongolia to the edges of Europe, a feat that seemed impossible at the time, but even the greatest conquerors can't cheat death forever. Despite his unparalleled success on the battlefield, Genghis Khan was still human, bound by the same mortal coil as the rest of us. In 1227, Genghis Khan finally met his match, and no, it wasn't a rival army or a poisoned yak. It was the inevitable march of time and the frailties that come with it. His death marked the end of an era, but his legacy was far from over. The details are a bit murky, but it seems the Khan died doing what he loved, riding his horse, probably planning his next conquest. His passion for expansion and adventure never waned, even in his final moments. Some say he fell off his horse, a fitting end for a man who spent most of his life in the saddle, leading his troops to countless victories. Others whisper about a hunting accident. The truth may never be known, shrouded in the mists of time and legend. What is certain, however, is that his death was as enigmatic as his life. Whatever the cause, the world's most famous conqueror rode off into the sunset, or maybe just a dust cloud, at the ripe old age of 65. His departure left a void that would be felt for generations. Not bad for a guy who started with nothing but a loincloth and a dream. From humble beginnings, he rose to become one of the most formidable figures in history, proving that determination and vision can change the world. So, what's the legacy of this horse-riding, arrow-shooting, world-conquering comedian? More than you might think. Genghis Khan's empire connected East and West, boosting trade and cultural exchange. He modernized Mongolian society and law. He even inspired countless statues, paintings, and, let's be honest, not so historically accurate movies. He's still a big deal in Mongolia, kind of like their George Washington, but with less powdered wigs and more arrows. Sure, he wasn't perfect. Okay, he could be downright terrifying. But Genghis Khan left his mark on history, and that's something you can't conquer with an army, no matter how many horses you have. Okay, jokes aside, it's important to remember that Genghis Khan was a complex historical figure. While his achievements were remarkable, we shouldn't shy away from acknowledging the brutality and violence that often accompanied his conquests. History is rarely black and white, and understanding the nuances of figures like Genghis Khan is crucial for a balanced perspective on the past. Okay, one more joke, we promise. What did Genghis Khan say when he ran out of arrows? I've had it up to here with these archery competitions. And that, my friends, is the story of Genghis Khan, the comedian of conquerors, the emperor of expansion, the Khan who made history laugh, and cry and probably hide under the table a bit. So next time you see a picture of this fearsome warrior, remember, behind those steely eyes and that impressive mustache, there might have been a twinkle in his eye. Or maybe that was just the glint of his next conquest.